Most people think suffering comes from being alone. They assume loneliness is the problem, and if the right person arrives, if someone stays, chooses them, approves them, then the mind will finally relax. But in Buddhism, suffering often comes from something deeper than solitude. It comes from the inner demand that says, I can't be okay unless someone is here to hold me up. That demand can look like love on the surface, but it's usually fear underneath. Fear of being left, fear of not being enough, fear of sitting with your own mind. And when fear is running the relationship, you start clinging, checking, chasing, explaining, trying to secure reassurance. Today, we're not learning how to reject people or become cold. We're learning how to stop clinging so love can become calm, clean, and peaceful. Because real freedom is not isolation. Real freedom is a mind that can stand without begging, without needing someone else's mood to decide your worth, without needing a reply to feel okay, without turning another person into your oxygen. And there's one misunderstanding that destroys this entire practice. People confuse non-attachment with indifference. In a moment, we'll correct that so you can let go without losing your heart. Lesson 1. The real cause of inner pain, the mind that clings. In Buddhism, the Buddha doesn't blame people for your suffering. He doesn't say they hurt you, so you suffer. He points somewhere precise, the way the mind grabs. The target is dukkha, that tight, restless feeling we call suffering, stress, or inner unease. And the Buddha traced it to a simple chain that repeats in life. Craving turns into clinging, and clinging turns into pain. Craving is not just wanting something. It's the inner demand that whispers, I need this to be okay. It can be a person, attention, reassurance, a message, a sign you still matter. Clinging is what happens next, when the heart closes its fist around that thing and silently says, don't change, don't leave, don't stop choosing me. The problem is not that you care. The problem is that everything you hold is changing. People shift, feelings shift, life shifts. So when you grip what cannot stay the same, you create pain on top of change. You can see it clearly in modern life. Someone replies quickly and your body relaxes. The mind says, good, I'm safe. But if they don't reply, the chest tightens. The imagination runs. You start checking the phone, rereading messages, preparing explanations, trying to regain control. That isn't love becoming deeper. That's the nervous system using another person as medicine, trying to calm fear with external proof. This is where Buddhist wisdom becomes practical. The practice is not to stop loving, and it's not to become distant. It's to recognize the moment the mind turns love into a demand, to notice craving without feeding it, to feel discomfort without turning it into a chase. And here's the part most people miss. The moment you can watch the urge, you are already freer than before. Remember this line like a compass. The Buddha didn't teach you to stop loving people. He taught you to stop gripping them. And when you stop gripping, something surprising happens. Love becomes cleaner, your mind becomes steadier, and you begin to suffer less, even if life still changes. Lesson 2. The two arrows, how suffering multiplies in the mind. In Buddhism, the Buddha explains suffering with a simple image called the two arrows. The first arrow is life itself. It is rejection, distance, loneliness, loss, disappointment, or change. No human life escapes this arrow. Feeling sadness when someone pulls away is normal. Feeling hurt when expectations break is human. This kind of pain is not a failure. It is part of being alive. The second arrow is optional, but most people fire it automatically. It is not what happens to you, but what the mind adds on top. The second arrow is made of stories, shame, panic, and obsession. It sounds like the mind turning against itself. The moment pain appears, the mind says, I am worthless. I will never be okay. Something is wrong with me. I must fix this immediately. This is where suffering multiplies. The first arrow hurts, but the second arrow keeps hitting again and again. You can see this clearly in everyday moments. Someone does not reply to a message. That is the first arrow. It is a small, neutral fact. But then the mind begins to work. Silence turns into meaning. Meaning turns into fear. Fear turns into self-judgment. One pause becomes a full disaster inside the head. The body tightens, the breath shortens, and the mind starts running in circles. Nothing new happened, but suffering increased. Buddhist practice does not try to remove the first arrow. Life will still bring pain. What the practice trains is awareness of the second arrow. The moment you can see the extra layer, you create space. You realize that sadness does not require self-attack. Discomfort does not require panic. Change does not require obsession. Here is a simple micro-practice you can do in 10 seconds. When pain appears, pause and ask yourself whether this is the first arrow or whether the mind is adding a second one. Notice the difference in the body when you stop feeding the extra story. Even a small pause weakens the habit. This is a turning point in Buddhist training. Real life begins when you stop shooting the second arrow. Pain may still visit, but suffering no longer has to take over. Lesson 3. Impermanence. Why people cannot be your permanent home. One of the clearest teachings in Buddhism is impermanence, known as anicca. It means that everything in life is always changing. Feelings change, relationships change, attention changes, moods rise and fall. Nothing stays in one fixed form for long. This is not a mistake in life. This is the nature of life itself. Suffering begins when the mind forgets this and starts demanding stability from what cannot stay still. Many people quietly turn other human beings into their emotional home. They look for safety, identity, and peace inside someone else. But doing this is like trying to build a house on moving water. Even when the water is calm, it is still moving. Even when a person is loving, their feelings will shift. Even strong relationships change shape over time. When your sense of peace is tied to something that moves, your peace will move with it. You can see this clearly in everyday relationships. The same person can be warm one week and distant the next, not because they are bad, but because they are human. They have their own fears, stresses, and inner weather. If your calm depends on their warmth, your calm will rise and fall with their moods. When warmth is present, you feel safe. When it disappears, anxiety returns. The mind begins searching for explanations, reassurance, or control. This is how impermanence turns into suffering. Buddhist practice does not ask you to stop caring. It asks you to stop demanding permanence from what cannot offer it. Love can exist without ownership. Connection can exist without dependence. When you accept change instead of fighting it, something inside begins to relax. You no longer need people to stay the same in order to stay steady. There is a gentle micro-practice for this. When discomfort appears because someone has changed, quietly remind yourself that this too changes. Say it slowly and feel it in the body. This is not said to become cold or distant. It is said to soften the grip of expectation and reduce inner struggle. This lesson leads to a powerful truth. Do not ask impermanent things to give you permanent security. When you stop asking people to be your home, you finally learn how to stand on your own ground. Lesson 4. Not self, you are not their reaction. Another central teaching in Buddhism is anatta, often explained as not self. In simple terms, it means that your worth, identity, and value are not solid objects that other people can give or take away. They are not locked inside approval, attention, or affection. Suffering begins when the mind forgets this and starts using other people's reactions as proof of who you are. When someone is warm, the mind feels worthy. When someone becomes distant, the mind feels rejected. But Buddhism gently points out something important. Their mood is not a verdict on you. Their silence is not your identity. Their confusion, withdrawal, or rejection is not your definition. These are experiences passing through another human mind, not a final judgment about your value. You can see how this teaching works in daily life. Someone pulls away or becomes less responsive. Almost instantly, the mind produces a story. It says you are not enough, you said the wrong thing, you failed, you lost your value. This story feels convincing because it comes with strong emotion. But Buddhism makes a clear distinction here. That story is a thought. It is not the truth. It is a mental event arising and passing like any other. This is where real mind training begins. Instead of arguing with the thought or trying to replace it with positivity, the practice is simpler. When the self-judging thought appears, notice it and label it as a self-story. Say it quietly in the mind and allow the thought to exist without following it. Then, return attention to the breath or the body. You are not trying to destroy the thought. You are training the mind to see it clearly. Each time you do this, something shifts. The thought loses its power to define you. Space appears between awareness and the story. In that space, dignity returns. Calm returns. You begin to feel the difference between experiencing a thought and being ruled by it. This lesson leads to a deep form of freedom. You no longer rise and fall with other people's reactions. You remain human, open, and caring, but you stop using external responses as a mirror for your worth. Remember this clearly and gently. You are not the thought that judges you. You are the awareness that can see the thought. And awareness does not need approval to exist. Lesson 5. The middle way. Connection without dependence. Solitude without withdrawal. One of the most misunderstood teachings in Buddhism is the middle way. Many people think freedom means cutting people off, becoming emotionally distant, or needing no one at all. Others believe freedom comes from constant connection, reassurance, and closeness. Buddhism rejects both extremes. True freedom is not found in isolation, and it is not found in dependence. Freedom is balance. The middle way teaches that suffering grows at the edges. When you lean too far toward needing people, fear enters the relationship. When you lean too far toward isolation, numbness replaces warmth. Both are reactions, not wisdom. The balanced path is different. It allows connection without collapse and solitude without loneliness. It creates a mind that can relate without losing itself. Healthy connection has 3 quiet qualities. First, warmth. You are open, kind, and emotionally present. You allow yourself to care. Second, boundaries. You do not abandon your values, dignity, or inner stability to keep someone close. Third, inner steadiness. Your sense of safety does not rise and fall entirely based on how others behave. When these 3 are present together, relationships feel lighter. There is less pressure, less fear, and less silent bargaining. Clinging connection feels very different in the body. It is driven by fear rather than clarity. Fear of being left, fear of not being chosen, fear of being alone with your own thoughts. From this fear comes control, overthinking, people-pleasing, and subtle begging for reassurance. The mind starts negotiating for love instead of offering it freely. What looks like closeness is often anxiety trying to protect itself. This is where many people misunderstand non-attachment. They think it means shutting down emotions or pretending not to care. Buddhism teaches the opposite. Non-attachment does not mean you stop caring. It means you stop turning people into your oxygen. You still breathe, but you no longer panic when someone steps away. You still love, but you no longer collapse when love changes form. The middle way allows you to say something very powerful inside yourself. I care about you, but I do not disappear without you. I enjoy your presence, but I do not lose my ground when you are absent. This inner stance changes everything. It removes desperation from connection and replaces it with dignity. People can feel the difference. Relationships become calmer because they are no longer carrying the weight of your survival. There is a simple daily practice that supports this balance. When attachment tightens, gently repeat this sentence in the mind. I can love you without holding you. Say it slowly. Feel it in the chest. This is not rejection. It is respect for reality. It is the understanding that love does not need chains to stay meaningful. A free heart does not avoid connection, and it does not cling to it. A free heart can be close without fear and alone without collapse. This is the middle way in daily life. When you walk this path, relationships stop being something you need in order to be whole. They become something you share because you already are. Lesson 6. The actual method: seeing craving, softening it, and not feeding it. Up to this point, the ideas may feel clear and even comforting, but Buddhism becomes truly transformative only when understanding turns into practice. Insight alone does not rewire the mind. Knowing the truth intellectually does not stop old patterns from running. The mind changes when it learns how to meet experience differently in real time. This lesson focuses on the exact moment when craving appears and shows how freedom is trained not by force, but by awareness. Craving rarely announces itself loudly. It often arrives as a subtle urgency in the body, a tight chest, a restless stomach, a pressure in the throat. Then, the mind adds a command that feels absolute and convincing. Do something now. Fix this feeling. Reach out. Get reassurance. Remove the discomfort. In that moment, craving feels like an emergency. Buddhism does not tell you to suppress this urge or judge yourself for having it. It teaches you to see it clearly and stop feeding it with automatic action. This is where a simple but powerful practice becomes essential. The method, known as RAIN, works because it interrupts the habit gently, without creating inner conflict. The first step is recognize. The moment you notice the urge, you name it. This is craving. This is fear. Naming is not analysis. It is a clear acknowledgement. The instant you recognize what is happening, you are no longer fully inside it. Awareness steps forward, and the grip loosens slightly. The second step is allow. This does not mean enjoying the feeling or agreeing with it. It means giving it permission to exist without panic. Let the sensation be present for a moment. Most craving feels unbearable only because the mind believes it must be removed immediately. When you allow the feeling instead of fighting it, the nervous system begins to calm. What felt overwhelming starts to soften, often faster than expected. The third step is investigate. Gently bring attention into the body. Ask where the craving is living right now. Is it pressure in the chest, tightness in the jaw, heat in the stomach? Feel the raw sensation directly, without adding a story about what it means. This is a crucial shift. The mind moves from dramatic thinking to simple sensing. Physical sensations are intense, but they are also honest and temporary. They rise and fall when observed. The final step is not identify. This is where deep freedom begins. You remind yourself that this feeling is not who you are. It is an experience passing through awareness. Like weather, it forms, moves, and dissolves. You do not need to become it. You do not need to act it out. You can let it pass without turning it into behavior. Imagine a common moment. You want to send a third message for reassurance. The urge feels strong and convincing. Instead of obeying it, you pause for 60 seconds and move through these steps. You recognize the craving. You allow the discomfort. You feel it in the body. You remember it is not you. Often, something surprising happens. The urgency weakens. The spell breaks. Choice returns. This is the heart of Buddhist practice in daily life. Craving grows when you obey it. Craving shrinks when you observe it. Each time you choose awareness over reaction, you train the mind toward freedom. Lesson 7. What strong souls walk alone really means in Buddhism. The idea that strong souls walk alone is often misunderstood. Many people hear it and think strength means becoming emotionally closed, distant, or hardened. Buddhism teaches something very different. Strength is not the absence of feeling. Strength is the capacity to remain present with feeling without running away from it. A strong soul is not someone who rejects connection, but someone who no longer depends on it to survive. In Buddhist practice, strength shows itself in the ability to sit with discomfort. Loneliness may arise, but it does not turn into panic. Sadness may appear, but it does not turn into self-attack. The mind feels what it feels, yet it does not collapse. This is not because the person has become numb. It is because they have learned how to stay with experience without being consumed by it. This is why walking alone does not mean isolation. It means you are no longer afraid of your own inner space. You can be alone without turning that aloneness into a story about your worth. You do not need constant reassurance to feel real. You do not need someone else's presence to feel complete. The mind becomes a place you can rest in rather than escape from. Buddhism describes this as inner refuge. Instead of taking refuge in approval, attention, or constant connection, you take refuge in awareness itself. Awareness does not leave. It does not judge. It does not abandon you when conditions change. When you rest in awareness, relationships become something you share, not something you cling to for survival. A simple example makes this clear. A person feels loneliness in the evening. The body tightens slightly. The mind notices the absence of someone. Instead of reacting, the person breathes with the feeling. They allow the sensation to be there. They do not rush to distract themselves. They do not chase reassurance. They do not punish others for not being present. They stay kind, both toward themselves and toward life. There is dignity in this stillness. This kind of strength changes how you relate to people. You can be close without fear. You can give warmth without bargaining. You can allow others to come and go without losing your center. You stop grasping, not because you care less, but because you trust yourself more. Connection becomes lighter because it is no longer carrying the weight of your emotional survival. Strong souls walk alone, not because they reject love, but because they no longer abandon themselves. They can be with people without shrinking. They can be alone without hardening. Their strength is quiet. It does not announce itself. It shows up as steadiness, patience, and gentleness in moments that once caused collapse. This is the heart of the teaching. A strong soul can be alone and still be gentle. When you discover this strength, real life opens. You stop chasing peace and start living from it. Closing reflection, returning to the path with calm and clarity. Real life begins when love stops being a hunger. When connection is no longer something you need in order to feel whole, something inside finally relaxes. You can still care deeply, still feel warmth, still value closeness, but the desperation fades. When connection stops being a dependency, the heart becomes quieter, steadier, and more honest. Love no longer asks to be fed constantly. It simply flows. From a Buddhist view, solitude is not a punishment, and it is not rejection. Sometimes, solitude is training. It gives the mind fewer places to hide. In that space, you begin to see clearly what the mind reaches for when it feels afraid. You notice the urge for reassurance, the need to be chosen, the habit of seeking comfort outside yourself. And in seeing these movements clearly, you are given something precious. Space. Space to soften the grip. Space to let go without force. This is where the real identity shift happens. You do not need to become hard or emotionally distant to protect yourself. You do not need to close your heart to survive. What you need is freedom. A free heart does not cling, and it does not shut down. It loves more cleanly, with less fear and less control. It allows others to be human without turning their behavior into a verdict on your worth. To support this freedom, take one simple practice into your week. Once each day, notice a moment when craving for reassurance appears. It might be the urge to check your phone, to explain yourself, or to seek comfort immediately. When you notice it, place one hand gently on your chest. Take 3 slow breaths and feel the body. Name the experience quietly as clinging and fear. Then, wait 10 minutes before acting. This pause is not denial, it is training. It teaches the mind that it can survive discomfort without obeying it. If this practice brings even a small sense of steadiness, stay close to it. The path does not shout or demand attention. It works quietly, moment by moment. And though it may feel subtle at first, it leads far.